Hello, everyone, and welcome back to part two of Great Expectations. If you have not watched part one, you can do so on Zara's channel. Get all of the news and fun chatter there, and like and subscribe and leave a comment and all that. You know, great stuff. And then come back here and get more great stuff.
As Sarah would say, Yikea.
I was originally going to say if you hadn't watched part one, then yeah, IKEA, but
Yeah, that sounds like you, because that's the word you say.
it is a word I say. Okay. So now that we've discovered that, we've got viewer questions to go over.
I feel like we've rediscovered that. It's a gift that keeps giving.
I don't know if I've ever said it on like YouTube. But here we are.
We made it.
We've peaked.
We
Uh,
got there.
so let's start with viewer questions and then we'll go in the game and do our character review and all that. And the roast. Roast.
Right,
Yeah.
another miserable roster to look at.
Yeah,
Hmm.
maybe.
Another miserable Zareth to endure it,
It's my favorite part of the day. Okay. Um,
and cheating.
I didn't cheat.
Not yet.
We're not even there yet. Oh man. Okay. First viewer question. Matt RCS. And I'm gonna read the whole thing before you can answer because he's dictating who should answer this, which is really great. Um
This is Yikea.
has a mid-level and clarifies roughly 7 million GP, almost 3 GLs. Um as a standard guild member in a solid growing guild, what is the best contribution I can make besides deploying on time, etc., and gearing up useless characters for Rise of the Empire? I'm thinking Sarah may be the expert on this one, and we can put Zareth in the hot seat by going first. So, Zareth,
At
what?
7 million,
Yeah,
I'm I'm skeptical that you should be gearing worthless characters for Rise of the Empire. To be honest, at 7 million,
I'm
a
trying to
guild.
think how big was Professor X? Sorry to interrupt you when Rise of the Empire started.
It's okay. You're the expert. So, um, we. I don't know. He was. I mean, he's less than 10 million. He's I don't know. I think he only had 3 GLs.
It was before the Lightspeed bundles, right?
Yeah.
So
Oh
you were
yeah. Well
probably
before
like
that,
7 or 8 million GP,
probably like 9 million. Yeah.
somewhere around there.
Maybe 8 million. Sure.
And um, you were not gearing worthless characters for TV.
No, I
Like,
signed up. I signed up for one character that was like fairly useful
yeah,
to my roster, but yeah, not. It actually turned into Malik, which it was like, oh, I needed that for Leviathan anyways. So it actually wasn't much of a contribution long
uh,
term.
right, because
Um,
everyone ended up doing it anyway.
right.
Um, yeah,
I said I'm a trendsetter. Is how I could spin it.
right.
Right. True. Clearly, but I don't know, like so gearing him up, like I guess that would be Relic 8, probably Relic 7, Relic 8.
Right.
I think I mean so contributing to your guild in other ways, as in I mean I think helping put I feel like the raid is a great way to really push your guild ahead. Honestly, I think that's probably the number one thing I would be looking at is
Yeah.
being a leader in that and just trying to help facilitate your guild getting to whatever the next crate is, if that's going to be possible. Because if they're trying hard, I feel like Rise of the Empire is the back burner thing that you're going to increase
Hmm.
stars in accidentally, even because you're just increasing your GP all the
Hmm.
time.
Hmm.
And I feel like raids, though, you have to be very intentional, and it's a very small window. And But like the impact that it has on a small, especially a smaller guild, getting that extra Mark III currency and being able to advance those worthless characters in Rise of the Empire or wherever else, like that's where it all comes down. Like I feel like the raid is the foundation, and that's if you're going to focus on a guild level on something, not just your personal contribution, because you doing like 14 million or 16 million or whatever you can get, even with a smaller roster. I've seen it.
Hmm.
That's not going to be as nearly as impactful as if you can be a leader and help other people in your guild like get to the point where they're all contributing to get that next crate. That's what I think.
Fair. Um, so
Now to the expert.
knowing nothing about your guild other than that it's a growing, solid and growing guild. So it sounds like it's a guild that's actually like working towards progressing. Um, if it's a growing guild, I'm gonna assume you're in like a mid-level guild, not an end game guild. And I'm going to assume, based off of that, you're probably not pushing past the Relic 7 planets. Maybe on one of the paths, depending on what the path is that your guild takes. But probably not going into like the Relic 8 zones. So I don't think you need to worry about taking characters up past that point. The big thing TB wise at this point is Platoon's obviously contributing to a big uh chunk of the points. And if you are not comfortable necessarily like relicking up worthless characters or whatever, I would look at what you already have available and what you're not using and platooning it so that other people can use those characters or ships, which is a big one, and get the points that way. So, for example, if you're platooning your Razor Crest, you might want to consider platooning your Executor because then you probably aren't going to run an Executor team and you can platoon the whole Executor fleet if you wanted to, as an example,
Sure.
and let somebody else do that. But other than that, the other big thing, honestly, is uh, getting the Riva mission done. Like get those shards, get it done, get it unlocked, and roll in the shard shop currency from there. You should be getting if you have so you need 200 million GP in order to participate in Rise of the Empire. And if you have 200 million GP, you can get to the Reba zone and do that mission. So there really shouldn't be an excuse other than not having the Inquisitors built up. And at this point, I feel like if you don't have the Inquisitors built up, I mean, it's been 2 years since the first one was released. Like, shit or get off the pot. Um, I, I don't know
Right.
what to tell you. Like,
Like go F yourselves.
like, just 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 build them up. Um, and then the get currency missions are pretty solid, but I wouldn't necessarily chase gearing characters for them if it's taking away from other things. So I actually do agree with you, Zareth, that the raid will build a better foundation. And if you need to focus on the raid first, I would do that before focusing on gearing up your like Kira and Young Han and stuff like that to do those special
Absolutely.
missions. Because that will just roll in afterwards, and that's like an after the fact thing. The one thing I will tell you not to do is there is zero need to relic Kit Fisto for the raid or for the territory battle. Sorry, it's a trap. You don't need him. He's not in platoons as of right now. Um, and you don't use them past the first zone, so you don't need them. Don't do it, and that's that. So yeah, I agree with you. I think the raid is actually a better focus, other than Inquisitors, and then
Yeah.
eventually the special missions.
I like the addition of Inquisition there because that's something that the whole guild will like. That's a huge boost to the whole guild.
And and honestly, you're gonna use your Inquisitors in every other game mode, especially when you have Reba. Like,
Dude, they are one of the most blanket useful teams out there. They're
it
just And they have
It's
really good tags as
yeah,
well.
it's wild. Like they make like I use them in Territory War, I use them in Grand Arena. They make Conquest so easy breezy beautiful. Like it's a joke. Um, so yeah, I would highly recommend doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then honestly, the big thing with territory battle is how your officers are planning the route and making sure that you guys are utilizing as much GP as possible, and recognizing the fact that because of how this map is built, everything trickles forward. So something that happens in phase two has a cascading effect, and it might happen in phase two dark side, and it cascades and leads to you picking up a star in phase four light side. Like it just flows all through the map. So that's the big thing is taking advantage of all of that.
Let's just talk for an hour about territory battles.
I mean, game on. I won't do that to you. Pico and I can do that on each other.
Honestly, I think it's a fairly interesting thing. I think my biggest complaint about territory battles is it's such an open ended, like the more your guild advances, the more you have to play, and it's just like
Yes.
a punitive thing of like, oh my gosh, like so sometimes you have to do like a one of the planets multiple times. You're like, I have
Hmm.
to do Dathomir twice, or something, and
Which, like,
I
God help us all.
right. I mean, I think you can solo a lot of Dathomir, not all of it maybe, but a lot of it. But yeah, it's yeah, there's just a lot that you're like, hey, we unlocked Zepho, congratulations, have 5 more missions,
Yeah.
and like do the fleet mission every day for a while till you get to the end, just to get
Goody.
close to that star.
I mean, honestly, though, like a big factor for me, and I know, I'm sure you've done this too, and I know a bunch of people in our guild have done this, is figuring out teams that you can just auto.
Sure.
Like,
Um, yeah, no, I mean that's a really big thing. I think well, and so we had this discussion on the Gambit Roundtable about territory battles and how like probably the best way to advance your guild and like your total takings is probably by focusing less on stars
hmm.
and way more on teams that will get you GT2
Yes.
because that's going to and GT3 so
Hmm.
that you can get Kyrotech.
Yep.
Kyrotech is such a huge burden for so many different people, but instead people are going for stars, and the problem being, stars are the things like that they don't show GT2 takes
Hmm.
on like maybe they show it on recruiting pages or whatever, but they don't show it on your overall guild. And so if you're recruiting, it's way more fancy to say, "Hey, we get 38 stars or however many,"
Right.
instead of like, hey, we get a decent amount of GT2. Because GT2, people don't. I get that question all the time. I'm like, guys, just earn GT2 and it'll stop the Cairo crunch for you. And they're like, how will that solve it? I'm like, you can buy Cairo with GT2. And like, light bulb, goes on, but like, that's not non obvious, apparently,
I
to a
I
lot of
actually
people.
like that you said that because I had somebody message me recently asking for a spot in ODB, and they actually joined us. And one of the questions I told them at the time we didn't have a spot, but I said if you have questions about it, let me know. I'll answer your questions, and then I'll let you know as soon as we have a spot available. Um, and one of his questions was how much, like, how does our guild do on get currency missions in TB?
Nice.
And it's a factor. Like people care about it.
Well, yeah, I think they're starting to care about it, but like
Mhm.
on the front, like just on the surface, how does your guild compare to all the other guilds? Like the stars are that's gonna be like a red flag. You're like
Yeah.
you have that many GP and you're like 5 stars behind the rest of your GP.
Hmm.
Like can you guys get your shit together before I join you, please?
Right. What's going on?
Yeah.
Okay. So enough about TB.
Oh, I thought we were going for an hour.
That's what she said. Uh next question.
She's not being realistic, man.
No. Uh Jerica was asking or pointed out the road ahead didn't mention a new capital ship. Would that mean a new ship isn't close? In a month's time, I can start my next capital ship, either Profundity or Leviathan. Should I wait on the newest ship, edited to add almost 9 million GP player, has Executor, almost 6 GLs, have all the Conquest tunes unlocked? So, um, basically, should they wait or should they just go after the one of the current capital ships that they don't have?
Well, I'm clearly the expert on this one, so I'll let you go first.
I was gonna say, just ignore Leviathan. Okay, so
Yeah,
first thing, this road ahead takes us to summer. So it gets us to roughly July, August at the absolute latest when the rate is gonna drop. Which I think the rate will drop in mid July, but that's neither here nor there. When Leviathan was announced last year, they actually didn't announce Leviathan until the April road ahead. So we still have time to hear about a ship coming out this year. Um,
absolutely.
it like this is by no means like the only stuff that we are getting this year. So it's I think it's just too early for them to tell us about a new capital ship if we are getting a new capital ship. Um, so I wouldn't base what your decision is going to be based off of this road ahead because this road ahead obviously didn't tell you anything, and I wouldn't have expected for it to tell us anything about ships anyway. Um, that being said, I would just start working on the next one now. Like like how close are I mean, I guess that's the big thing is how close are you to being ready to either Profundity or Leviathan? Is it going to be 2 months worth of gearing and farming stuff, or
Dude,
you know?
yeah, sorry, I was going to interrupt you, but
No, go
finish what you're
ahead.
going to say.
You're the expert.
Thank you. So, um, so you're absolutely right. Yeah, they announced Leviathan in April. It was released on the 20th of July, and wait,
That sounds right.
yeah, 20th of July. I'm reading my own infographic here because it's nice to have the calendar, but it's yeah, like they wouldn't have announced it yet. A lot of people are like, no, there's not going to be a new fleet because they didn't announce it.
That's
That there
folly.
there may not be a new fleet. Obviously, there may
Mhm.
not, but the absence of a fleet announcement in February does not have anything to do with that.
Correct.
So yeah, one way or another. Wait, and yeah, your profundity fleet, like I would say honestly, even though I do like Leviathan, I don't. I think it's just a stupid addition to all of the to the fleet meta. I
Mhm.
I I'm just. It's so dumb that it doesn't help in territory battles. Here, let's talk about territory battles. Territory
It's
battles
so
continued.
dumb.
But
Part two.
let's talk about the fleet missions now. Now, but Leviathan can't do them. In
Mhm.
fact, it's just like, hey, can I compete? And they're like, can we just use like the like 2 years ago iteration instead?
Uh-huh.
It's so dumb, and it's almost like CG just assumed that it would beat that unbeatable mission in Phase Two, for the dark side, and it just doesn't. So, anyways, the I would say though that so it has some good characters and stuff. I don't know where your account is at 9 million. I don't mean any shade by this because it's not a roster roast, and that's you're the person we're roasting today.
Or not.
I think you should have a second big fleet, anyways. By
Hmm.
now, like to me, it's a little bit appalling that you have 6 galactic legends and only one, and the least of the three capital ship, like GL level capital ships. I think you should be working on profundity right away, and Adrad. I've arrived to this conclusion much later than it's like realizing your parents are actually way smarter than you thought they were.
Hmm.
And like you arrive at that conclusion way later than you would have preferred to. Like, wouldn't it be nice to know that as a teenager? You're like, wow, I could learn from you.
Right.
But instead you're like, man, you're an idiot, and I need to leave. No, I don't think that. I don't think I ever thought about my parents, but I didn't realize just how well put together they were until I lived out my own. And I like All of that to say, I realize now that AdRad is such a good team, and it's just continuing to be more and more relevant. You
Hmm.
should be working on that team anyways, and it coincides with you getting an awesome capital ship to go with it. I think Profundity is 100% the way the direction you should go.
Yeah. And just to add on to that, I also agree that you should go for profundity because who cares about Leviathan, really? You don't need it.
What even
Um,
is that?
what it's a ride at Wonderland. Um,
Is
and
is it?
it is. It is
Okay.
a ride at Wonderland. Um, but
I don't care.
I know. What I was gonna say was that realistically, like, even if, let's say you're not refreshing the event when it comes around and you're just gonna like get the shards and whatever, why put it off more at this point? Like, just
Yeah.
go and start it because there's nothing that's gonna say if they announce a new fleet in April or May, there's nothing that is going to stop you from being like, okay, well, yeah, I did all this work to get ready for profundity, and I've got, the first couple runs done, like 2 months or however many, whatever it is. Um, but I really want to get this new fleet. There's nothing stopping you from doing that. You can pivot at that point because every month you'll still be able to get the shards.
Right.
So there's no point in delaying it, I guess. Like, why procrastinate?
Oh, and if you're at 9 million GP, you're also probably don't have everything farmed. My guess is that you might not have all the things that you'll need for the next fleet anyways. The next fleet, there's no guarantees that they don't just say, "Oh, yeah, like you need like all the new stuff. Like you need
Right.
Bo-Katan or something, you know?"
Right, something ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, maybe you need Trench for it and a bunch of Conquest things that maybe you didn't farm. I don't know where I'm just. Maybe you get Red Crate every time. You probably do. But I'm just saying there's no guarantees that that's going to be an easy farm or a very accessible farm to anyone. So, and Profundity right now is great
Hmm.
no matter where in the game you are. So, yeah.
You can even use it in territory battles.
Yeah, if you get it past 6 stars.
Yeah. I mean, well, why wouldn't you? It's useful.
It's useful in Wonderland too, I
There's
hear.
there's no profundity in Wonderland.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Let's do um one more and I'll save the last two for next week because I feel like we've been doing viewer questions for an hour. Um
Right,
okay.
because they've all been about territory battles.
Well, you'll be happy to know that this next one is from Fins and Feathers and it's not about territory battles.
Damn it all.
It's about conquest.
That's so much worse. That's such a downgrade.
I don't know what's gonna be better this episode. Is that or like making you sad when we go do the roast? Um, it's like peaking twice in one. Like, man, I love it. Chef's kiss. Okay. So they
Okay,
say they can't remember
that's
where
what she
where it
said.
was. I know we've talked about this on H&N. Pico and I have talked about it, and I can't remember if you and I have talked about it on here. However, there was a discussion about the next evolution of Conquest. So what they could do to make it harder and like the next level up for players that are well over 4 million GP, to tune everything harder but balance it. Like what's the next thing you do here? Because realistically, CG, like let's call a spade a spade. CG has painted themselves into a corner here with Conquest. However, so they've said, could they tune everything, but then balance it, like tune it, make it harder, but then balance it by allowing us to use datacrons in Conquest? So it would require a certain level of higher investment from the players to complete it, but the rewards could be a gateway to the next progression, whether that's Relic 10 or next level of mods and added rewards to help fill the gaps with bronziums, Gerdas, mod mats, etc. Um, I, as somebody who,
As the expert,
willy nillies with datacrons, but experts in Conquest would vote no, uh, because I don't want to. But uh, okay, so I actually have questions about this if they were to do it. You would have data disks and datacrons now competing for effects on your team, which I feel like would be absolutely obscene. But you also would have, a cycle where you're going into Conquest with half of your datacrons gone because they've dusted. At least, 2 days into it, they will have dusted. Um, when you're earning the new ones, the new sets. So you would be limited. Like how hard would they make it? Could you kind of hobble by while you're trying to build new ones or use the older set that's still available? Um, I just don't know how. I don't know how they would do it without making me want to blow my brains out. Um,
Dark.
I,
Jeez.
I, I genuinely just don't know how they would tune it with having, like uh a light side, like how they are now, but then also tacking on data disks on top of that, tacking on consumables on top of that if you wanted to use a consumable. Um, I don't know. I just don't know about it.
I think it would be a total disaster, frankly. Because Conquest, by its nature, has to just kind of remain the same.
Hmm.
Like all the teams have remained the same. They really haven't added that many new characters or new teams to the lineups. It's like Starkiller and stuff. Like we see the new characters in the boss nodes, but otherwise,
Hmm.
they haven't really changed since the start of Conquest. And so it's going to stay the same. The datacrons change, and they're all geared toward PvP stuff. And I think the thing that's going to be the most challenging about it, that I just dislike the most, is you would need to use Conquest to farm the thing you need
Hmm.
to complete Conquest.
Yeah.
Like, it just seems really, really miserable to get those first few datacrons, because if it's all tuned as
Hmm.
obnoxious, like to the point that you need datacrons, but you don't get datacrons until you've actually completed some of the hardest stuff, I don't see how that would be tenable. Not to mention, there's a lot of people who enjoy Conquest a lot. I mean,
Hmm.
like you, Sarah. Like you don't you love Conquest, don't love Datacrons. I feel
Right.
like there would be at the very least a small scale revolt, maybe a huge one, by the people who are like, you know what, I like Conquest for what it is. Screw Datacrons. I don't want anything to do with them. Just because you can get them in Conquest doesn't mean I want to actually farm them or have anything to do with them.
Well, and I feel like it also would have, like, we see this now already in Conquest where you're doing feats and, you know, things that the discs are doing don't count towards the feats. So, like, you know, volatile accelerator throwing dots out there doesn't count towards you inflicting dots on your enemies for that feat, like things like that. And I feel like datacrons will also pose that kind of an issue where, they're not really going to help you out with feats. They might help you get through a node. Um, I think that also just would be infuriating to have to use a specific datacron. And like, what if you can't roll that level 6, you know,
Right.
and you can't get past, like, well, let's say you're in sector 3 and you can't get past this because you need a specific level 6 and you can't roll it and you can't re-roll it because you can't go get any re-roll mats because you can't get past, like, it's just like this vicious cycle. Um, I would legitimately be mad.
Yeah, I just don't think that works. I mean, I like Datacrons, obviously. I just don't. I think it would be an absolute disaster to try to balance that. I don't think they could tune it in any way that would be satisfactory to the players.
I just don't trust them to tune it.
I mean, It's just such a mess because then they'd have to start creating datacrons with Conquest in mind and trying to balance that as well.
And that's just a whole other
Uh,
game mode. Like Conquest is its own little world because of data disks and consumables and like the enemy teams having their own little buffs as well. Like it's a whole little sphere environment in a different part of the game. And tuning something to work there plus elsewhere where those factors are now removed just seems way too complicated.
yeah, please don't do that. I mean, I think it's right to spot that. Yeah, probably they will eventually update Conquest,
Yeah.
and to the point where like there's someone with almost 15 million GP right now.
Right.
Um,
Well, and that's what I mean by they've painted themselves into a corner is you've made hard mode and the entry for hard mode is 4 million GP.
right. I finished hard mode on my main account
Hmm.
in 6 days.
Right.
Like that was just. I mean, and I did 6 refreshes, but as a spender, that's pretty acceptable.
Hmm.
And it's a 6 a day, and then I was just done, and now I'm just farming crons and chilling for a
Right.
week. But like I wanted it done before GAC, and that's reasonable, a reasonable ask for me. But yeah, they will absolutely add another tier of difficulty to Conquest eventually if the game keeps going that long, which I don't see why they wouldn't. So that's right to. I don't think they're gonna do data crons. I mean, it is nice to think like you get more use out of datacrons. It'd be nice because it's all temporary, and I'm already farming the heck out of them anyways. But
Right. You
you
know.
know,
No.
you know,
No. I just if they do something, I think it should just be something else.
and yeah, why wouldn't they? Like
Hmm.
Relic 10 or something.
Hmm. Hmm. Um, okay, so we'll save the last two for next week.
They're about GAC, aren't they?
Um, no. Maybe someone will ask a GAC related question for you for next week.
We'll let you answer first because you're the expert,
Hey, I won today.
and I didn't, so it makes you the expert.
Okay, do you want to go into the game and we can review a character?
Yeah, we've been in the game for
Oh,
a little bit,
this is what
so
I get for not being able to see the product as we're making it. Um, okay, so we're not going to do a pack because there are a ton of uh packs available that we've already talked about. So there's nothing new there.
okay.
But we can do a character review.
It's a lot of
And
clones.
it's a lot of clones, but we're gonna talk about Captain Rex,
The king of the clones.
Dad Bod Rex.
Yeah, man.
And yeah, you were telling me he's high in demand.
He is. Yeah, he's important. He like right now. Yeah, there's a tug of war over Rex. He's one of the top characters to put in a lot of different teams right now.
Mhm. Um, and are you looking at that solely from a GAC angle or just in general?
I mean, territory wars as well, and then
Hmm.
I mean, just Phoenix. If you want to use Phoenix for some reason, for any reason,
Hmm.
like he is the. I mean, him and Hera basically have to be in every squad
Right, for Phoenix.
for Phoenix. So
I mean, I use them. I actually use Phoenix in Conquest.
nice. Yeah, that wouldn't be bad. They're pretty resilient if they can get the first couple hits that they take. So
They melt Inquisitors in Conquest.
that's good to know.
No,
It's
just saying it.
fancy. They melt
Anyway,
Inquisitors almost everywhere, except for right now with the Doubt Cron in
yeah.
the PvP stuff. Phoenix don't exist. Rex exists as Rebel Fighter.
Right. Okay. I actually forgot that he had the Rebel Fighter tag. I always just think Rebel and Phoenix. Well, obviously and Clone Trooper. Um, but I completely forgot that he was Rebel Fighter as well.
So I use him all over the place. Like you can use him on the Saw node in Rise of the Empire
Mm-hmm.
to get GT2. See, it is a territory battle discussion. Um, and you use him in like on a General Skywalker team
Mm-hmm.
as a clone. Like he's got all the good tags, man. Rebel, clone,
He
Phoenix,
does.
Rebel fighter, like tons of really good and like all of his abilities are so good. Like he does an AoE dot or daze
Yeah.
that you can't resist. It's madness. Like it just stops so many teams cold. So yeah, he hangs out with General Skywalker in Territory Wars.
Mm-hmm.
Um he hangs out in GAC right now. There's this crazy thing where you can use the Bigs, Kron, and Mon Mothma to kill Leia,
Mm-hmm.
but then Leia, if she has Rex on the team, can presumably stop that because of what the things that Rex does. And so he's really important there. He's amazing on Saw teams. He's amazing in on General Skywalker teams.
Mm-hmm.
He's good. I mean, you could put him on Mon Mothma if you really wanted to. You could put him on Phoenix.
Mm-hmm.
There's a ton of demand for him right now.
He also works in territory battles for the clone special mission on Zepho with the 501st clones. So if you do them with him as the fifth.
Yeah, and you need him to unlock Leia, so it's not like if suddenly you can't. Oh, and he's in the raid right now as well.
Oh yeah, and the raid.
I mean, he's not great. He's not like one of the power characters in the raid. Really, it's not like, oh yeah, relegate him right now. But
Right.
like he's still. I mean, you still use him because he's Relic 7 because you need him for Leia. So
I mean, I use them. I use them every raid.
that's what I said. You still use him because.
I
Oh,
mean, you technically use him on Professor X as well. So
thank you. I technically get a 15 million on that account. Um,
yeah, but you're right. He's everywhere.
he's one of the most relevant right now. He's just so good, and his just the fact that I mean, he's the master turd polisher for Phoenix. Like they didn't change anything about any of their kits.
Hmm.
They just added Rex, and suddenly Phoenix are like, yeah, we delete one of the toughest teams in the game, which is the Inquisitors. Like
Hmm.
we just you know, and he's the reason. Like he's the reason. Phoenix were absolute dog shit, and now they're not.
So, what would you say is your favorite thing about Rex? Because you obviously you use him in PvP way more than I do. Um,
Sure.
so I feel like you have a better angle on him.
I love his versatility. Like you could put him with so many different teams, and in GAC, if you put his Omicron on,
Hmm.
he gains what 50 extra speed, so you can make him really fast. So in GAC,
Uh,
yeah, he gets 25, but then he also so he gets 25 there, but then um on the top he also just gives himself
right.
25 more speed. So he's just plus 50 speed. And then he could get to pretty good speeds anyways,
Hmm.
without too much trouble. So yeah, he does a lot of cool stuff. I really like that they made his GAC Omicron
Hmm.
different for 5v5 for like different factions for fives
Yeah,
versus threes, which is a cool thing. I hope they do that more often.
I like that
Um,
too. That also tells you that they can do it for like they can make an Omicron and have it work in two different, you know, ways.
right. They just don't wanna.
Right.
Yeah. Um, I love that he does the AoE days. I mean that's
Yeah,
just so destructive.
on a special.
I mean that's what the Doubtcron. That's why the Doubtcron is so disruptive right now. Is we've built a meta based off of like all of our teams are so reliant on turn meter gain
Hmm.
that if we can deny that, like that's why Jedi Master Kenobi's been so dominant for so long. Is he just stops people from gaining turn meter, and so any team that relies on turn meter a lot just stop. Like they can't actually. They have no chance against Kenobi, and so I mean obviously people can gain turn meter against Phoenix in a lot more meaningful ways, but he can like pseudo do that because he can spam the AoE.
Hmm.
And yeah, especially if he's with Phoenix, so that Chopper is constantly reducing his cooldowns and stuff. It's pretty cool, man.
Hmm. I also like with this, like it's the AoE days, but it's also an AoE tenacity down.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
which I really like with like just throwing. If I personally, when I've used him specifically with troopers, is I will pretty much always do this first so that I can get out there and try and like get the other team stunned and stuff once they've got tenacity down.
When you're using him with who?
Troopers,
What troopers?
like the 501st troopers.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
gotcha. Oh, for like the raid and stuff.
Mhm.
Gotcha.
No, not the raid, the territory battle mission is usually where I stick them with
That
troopers.
that's literally what that is what I meant. I just said raid apparently. Sorry.
Oh,
Trust me, I wanted to talk about
uh,
territory battles.
you really, really do.
I
Uh,
super did.
but like I just like having that added because like there really is nothing more frustrating than not having like a debuff land, like having it be resisted, and you're like, great, thanks.
Yeah, he's an important fellow right now,
Hmm.
and I'm really glad that they've released him.
Yeah. Um, I don't have problems with him. I also use him with Leia, but I just find that he's a fun fifth to have on the squad.
Right. Well, that's what I'm saying. Like he's with Leia right now to stop the
Mhm.
Mon Mothma team. He's with Saw. He's with all the teams that I said. He's good, man. Plug and play for sure, and he'll just keep being good.
Yeah. You might want to say that you would want to clone him.
They already did. I
Also,
mean, that we already have another Rex. So
uh, um, any other thoughts on Rex?
no, I'm flustered now.
Okay, do you want to roast a roster?
Sure.
All right. We can roast a roster.
Well, let's
Somebody
get this over with.
posted, by the way, last week, like a really great "Do you want to roast a roster" song in the comments. Like it was like a full song to the tune of "Do you want to build a snowman?" Um, and I thought it was like perfection. It was great.
I think I read that. That was good. Congratulations.
I just thought it was brilliant. So I won't sing it. I'll spare everyone that injustice.
Thank you. Is that what we're supposed to say?
We're supposed to roast a roster. We're
uh,
here. We've arrived.
oh, this is actually one of my patrons.
That's what I said.
Okay, I didn't. Okay,
Wasn't listening to me.
what were you saying? Who?
So,
What's your name again?
sad.
He's from Seth Emperor.
Question mark.
Empire? Sith Emperor?
They're not sure.
They don't know.
They don't know.
All right, so Kyber 2.
Hmm. 9.5 million.
Okay. So okay.
So, what's Professor X? 10?
Yeah.
All right.
I'm in Kyber 1 though, mostly. Actually, I think I just oh no, I stayed in Kyber 1. Yeah. Barely. Barely held it on. Okay,
Okay.
this is the bottom of Kyber 2.
There's nothing wrong with the bottom of Kyber 2. It's quite
No.
fun.
I know you love it. So
All right. Uh, okay, so we're missing Leviathan,
what's that?
the Bride at Wonderland, and
Right.
Radis.
How are you
Oh,
missing
Radis.
Radis?
That is weird.
What? So he doesn't have Ray either.
And 6-star finalizer. No Radis. That is weird. Okay. Oh man,
Really?
look at his Malgus.
No.
I will say, I feel like
Dude.
ships are like a spoiler alert to the character part.
They
Uh,
kind of are. That's a good point.
oh,
No. Vulture jaw. Dude.
oh no.
Dude. And he has he has a 7-star malevolence, right?
Yeah, man. Relic 7 Grievous.
I guess he's just waiting for the those ships to get accelerated before he farms it.
Ah, man, that
Oh,
hurts. I mean, these
holy
ones are.
balls, dude.
Why would you finish like if
That's
you're
so
gonna
miserable.
finish the bomber, finish the vulture droid? I'm so confused.
Can we just be done already?
No.
Please. Please. Damn it all. Okay, so no Lord Vader yet. I mean, that's probably fine, but
Yeah.
um
Wow. I'm legitimately shocked.
I'm just disappointed.
It's the dad in you.
Dude, look at his Imperial. Look at his shuttle.
Man, with the relic pilots too, that makes it hurt even more. Ah,
I feel like I'm at my wedding and I just have to have a smile plastered to my face.
cheeks hurt afterwards. You're like,
Yeah,
okay,
you're like, my face hurts. That was miserable. All right.
yeah, okay. I mean, this is all standard once you get here, but man,
I feel like the cringe is standard. But,
yikes. Okay,
all
sorry,
right.
yikea.
What? I know, like he can't even use his malevolence in territory battles. Sorry, I just thought I'd bring up territory battles again.
Oh man. Okay. Let's look at Datacrons real quick, I guess.
Okay.
Oh, cricket. Okay.
All right, he's dabbling. That's good.
He's dabbling. Yeah. Okay. Shall we?
Um, like quit? Yeah.
Soon. Soon, soon, soon.
Before the pain comes. Oh, okay.
All right. So you got four,
All right. Should we do the 300?
four GLs.
The
Yeah,
the
we.
pretend 300 game?
Hey man, I did not cheat. Oh no. I guess he has five GLs
Okay.
with two Zetas on. Oh man.
Wait, that's not the ultimate
Is
on his
it?
Jedi Master is I can't tell.
No, it's locked.
Okay. I was like, I don't even think you can get it with like I feel like
Yeah.
there's a couple GLs that you could get your ult with it, but with that low of gear, but okay. So, well, at least he has two Zetas on both Mara Jade and Jedi Master Luke.
Mara Jade's like, don't worry, Luke. I got an Omicron too.
He's like,
And your
I've
signal
always
data.
wanted I've always wanted one of those.
Ah, man. Okay. Well, 300 game. Wow. Wow. Sorry. I'm still looking at Luke. Okay.
Well, it's an interesting thing that Luke is already, even at that gear level, like such a baseline high speed
Yeah.
that he's faster than everyone else. That makes sense. It's just
This
it's
is like a
neat.
good bunch of characters.
Yeah, I feel like the speed priority is mostly on point here.
Hmm. Echo, 4 stars. Okay. Do you want to go first? Or do you want me to go first? I'll let you choose.
I'll let you go first. You can show us the winner.
I did not look ahead. Um, okay, there's TIE Fighter Pilot. Wow, okay. I really don't know what to do here.
I mean, it almost looks like he has good mods.
I know. Just not good ships.
Yeah.
Oh man. Okay. I
Or they're just
wow.
uniformly bad.
Okay, I think I want to say Hux. I feel like that's really far down the list, though.
Yeah, I mean, Hux kind of makes sense because Star Killers would be really dumb to get to 300.
I'm gonna say Hux.
Okay, I'm gonna say Darth Revan right above Hux.
All right, we can look at Hux first. 272. Okay,
Whoa.
I was a little overzealous. Okay, Darth Revan,
Please don't be under 300. That's gonna be embarrassing.
277.
Okay, so this is embarrassing. I don't know what we expected after looking at those ships.
I I
Look at
mean the order
BB-8.
was the priority order was so good that I was like, I expect them all to be over 300.
You know, Iden is maybe a flag that I kind of ignored.
Okay.
She could be. She's
She's 282.
holy balls,
So that means
man.
Echo can't be 300.
We were so kind,
We were so kind. Holy crap, he's
and
283.
he
Oh,
repays us with this shit.
what's his BB-8? 305.
Why is your BB-8 305 and your Darth Revan is just non-existent? He's like, I guess I have mods.
Rex is 302.
Oh my gosh,
Oh man, Grief is 301.
I'm sick to my stomach right now.
I
This
mean,
is giving me grief.
we were over so Bosk is 300. Okay.
No, your Bosk is slower than grief.
Yep.
No,
Yeah, Bosk is it. Bosk is 300, Grief is 301. That's gotta
dude.
be swapped, man. How did that happen? Did you like slice something and not realize it? Wow, we were really generous.
Yeah, I was like, all right, Darth Revan, it's got to be it. And it's not even close, man.
No.
Oh,
Yikes. Okay.
that is awful.
Woo, boy. See, I did not cheat.
I feel like if I was cheating a lot on something, I would give like every once in a while, I'd do like a really obvious one. I'd be like, see, I didn't cheat. Look at this. Like you just lob one, just meant to throw everyone off the scent.
Oh man.
That seems consistent. It's good.
Do we want to unsort by speed? I feel bad
Yes,
looking at
please.
this. Okay.
BB-8 shouldn't be that fast.
You shut your mouth.
Oh, look, my BB-8 is that fast on my main account, but or faster even, I think.
Priorities.
But yeah, like not in a world where
Uh,
grief is faster than Bosk. I feel like I'm in the I'm like
uh,
in Ghostbusters, and they're like, like cats and dogs are living together. You know, like
oh
they're just like
man.
describing pure chaos. It's like grief is faster than Bosk. Gosh,
Yikes.
what
Uh,
what a buzzkill, man.
Um, do you have a faction you would like to look at in particular?
I wanted to be done for like 10 minutes at least.
Good. Yeah, well, tough shit. Pick a faction.
Um, a Jedi.
Okay. Well, I mean, he's got Jedi Master Luke, apparently.
He has him.
Somewhere in this hodgepodge. No Jedi Cal. Yikes.
So he spent the money to get the Phoenix boost. It looks like they're all Relic
Uh,
3,
I thought it took them to Relic 5. Was it only Relic 3?
just a 3.
Okay.
But he didn't spend the money to get Ray.
That's an interesting choice.
Interesting, absolutely.
Um, Poor Jolie. Still just hanging out.
Look at 7-star Kieti Mundi.
I know, just hanging out. Man, yeah, Mundy's
And
so
yeah,
much fun.
and yeah, poor Bastion Jolie.
Ugh. All right. Well.
Ezra's like, I have relics, and Kim's like, I will still one shot you. Jedi Master's like,
So,
I won't,
yeah.
I won't one shot anyone.
I'm just
I'll
gonna
get one shot.
I'm gonna hang out here. Man. Okay. I don't really know what to say about these Jedi.
At least he is Jedi Revan, I guess.
Yeah, I guess that's a bonus.
We've been roasting certain rosters that are like, wow, you don't have the Revans, and you're like 10 million GP. Like, what? What the what?
Which
Okay.
GLs did he have again? Let's go look 1 second.
He doesn't have Leia or Jabba or. Oh, he does have Jabba, never mind.
Okay, so
No Lord Vader, no Leia.
let's look
No.
at
No
Empire.
Rey.
Empire should be okay-ish.
They should.
Well, theoretically. Oh.
Is there no Dark Trooper Moff Gideon? Is he there?
Um,
Where's DTMG? Is he safe?
I don't think he's very safe. He is not safe. Yikes. Man, we're like on the 6th conquest cycle here of him.
Yeah, Prevail Man's about to unlock him. So
Like that's a big one.
that's what she said.
9.5 million GP.
Yeah, just don't do Conquest at all. That's fine, man. I'm totally gonna sign off on that. People are like, dude, Zareth, do you think you should do Conquest? I'm like, nah.
Nah,
It's not
totally
not
just
not
skip it.
important. Not important.
You want to look at separatists?
Why not? I hope he has a better trench than you.
Oh my God. Look at his trench. I feel so good.
That's so sad.
I mean, that's
Honestly, I don't blame you for if you don't want to work on trench. It's kind of a luxury team right now, but I don't know. You had the Omicron. You have the Omicron on Droideka. You had one on Juhani. Like, do you
yeah,
think maybe your guild would possibly benefit from? You have the Poggle one.
they
You
totally would benefit.
from having a Relic one Omicron zero Zeta trench like Sarah.
I mean, why not? You'd have to relic your newt too.
You
But
don't
still,
have to.
if you wanted to use well, I guess who would you put on there instead of newt if you want to use a datacron? I guess you
Oh, if
don't
you want
have
to
to
use it, if
use.
you want to use a data, I
I
mean,
guess you don't have to use a datacron.
it's Relic one. It's like, what? How much good is a Datacron gonna do?
Hey man, I did it because I was asked.
I know you were. They were like, "Hey, could you get your trench up?" You're like, "Okay, you're gonna have to be very specific because I want to cut corners."
Ah, man. Okay. Do you have another one you want to look at, faction wise?
Oh, jeez, a scoundrel.
Okay. I was gonna suggest Scoundrel, and then I saw Separatist, and I thought that would be fun. And this one
And
is
it wasn't.
okay, okay. Ah, there's Seer.
Oh yeah, so does he have all of the requirements for Jedi Cal?
Um, we can look. We can look.
Where's his? I guess baby Cal isn't a scoundrel, is he?
No. Yikes. Look at Embo. Wait a minute.
Oh.
So you got Hondo Relic, but you didn't do any of the other AFRA requirements? You just did Hondo?
Dude, Hondo is good on his own. I'll defend him on that. Like, I feel like the other ones, why would you work on them? But like without specifically working on Afra as well. But Hondo is, and he's Cantina, so he's fast to
Fair.
farm. Yeah, he solo stuff in 3v3 sometimes. Okay, so
Okay.
okay, last one, Ufus.
Okay.
I feel
Uh,
nervous.
there's Baby Cal.
He's
Yikes.
got Ben unlocked. He's like, hey, I don't want Ray, so why would I work on Ben? I guess that's fine. Okay. So Baby Cal is ready. It looks like
Yeah.
maybe he has his Jedi Cal requirements ready. Maybe.
Let's just see.
Hold
Where's
on. Does he have Malakos? I want to see Malakos real quick.
uh no.
Okay, let's turn it off right now. He doesn't have Malakos.
No.
No.
This is the best part.
No.
Look at his bays and shirt. Oh man.
Oh my. Oh, jeez. Zam. Zam's like, I'm left out.
Oh my gosh, look at Malik. Oh. Oh wow.
And Malgus right next to him almost.
Wow.
Their Boss Nass has higher gear than them.
This is wild. Tebow has higher gear than them. Friggin' Jedi Consular has more gear than them.
All right, I'm done.
Goodbye.
Thank you for being my patron.